Well, hello again, and thank you very much for joining me. Today we're going to be looking at a garden set in southwest Scotland among the rolling hills of Dumfries and Galloway, and at Threave Garden and Nature Reserve. The National Trust for Scotland is a charity and it looks after many castles, estates and gardens within Scotland. So when you first arrive at Threave, you'll enter through here. This is the visitor centre, and the visitor centre contains a coffee shop, a gift shop, a garden centre, and also a small display area displaying photographs of what's looking good within the garden at that particular time. So let's now set off and walk around this 63-acre site. There's plenty to see and do, but anyway, we're going to start off with this. This is a North American plant and it's Rebecca Goldsturm, and it has daisy-like flowers from late summer to autumn with gold petals surrounding a contrasting black centre. Makes about 60 centimetres high. Unlike many lilies we have growing in our garden, this is Lily McClinnii, and to be honest it's quite subtle. Most lilies tend to be very bright and brash, being bright red, bright yellow, bright gold, but this has petals which are white shading to pink, and that makes it just a little bit subtler and very, very pretty. Each flower is quite large and can be up to 3 inches across. It grows to about 45 centimetres in height. In the past couple of years, the National Trust for Scotland has employed some willow weavers, and they've gone about different gardens making different sculptures, and here's one I like in particular, and it's a willow face. This plant looks a little bit outer-worldly, shall I say? It's actually a sea holly, and it's Eryngium zabellii. It grows to about 50 centimetres high by 30 centimetres wide, and in summer it has deep purple-blue flowers. Being a sea holly, it comes from a well-drained position in nature, so it only likes well-drained soil. Waterlogged soils won't do it any favours at all. Another sculpture, but unlike the willow, this one's slightly more permanent. This is a metal sculpture of a deer. This clump-forming herbaceous is Crocosmia jupiter, and it flowers all the way from midsummer through to autumn. In fact, it will keep on flowering until the first frost, so great value for money and a fantastic herbaceous for any garden. The biggest problem with people going to garden centres is they tend to go at the same time. That's midsummer. So what they do is they buy plants which are in flower at that particular time of year. What you need to do is to go in at different seasons. So you go in spring, summer, autumn and winter and see what's of interest in those particular seasons. And this is a cracker. This is one of the Japanese anemones, Anemone japonica, and it flowers from late summer through to autumn. When I worked in the garden centre, people would come in and ask for autumn crocus, and I would sell them a pack of small bulbs, and the small bulbs when planted would actually produce in autumn small thin leaves and flowers just like spring crocus. What they actually meant to ask for was colchicum, and these are 2 colchicums. The first is Colchicum speciosum and the second is Colchicum water lily. Now the difference is the bulbs are about 1.5 inches across, they can be 2 to 3 pounds per bulb, and the flowers appear in autumn and the foliage only appears in spring. So, quite different from autumn crocus. One of the nice things about Threave is it's quite different from other gardens in that instead of just a large expansive garden, it's made up of small compartments which contain places where there's fuchsias, conifers, trees, heaths, heathers, water garden, walled garden. So it's a great place to explore, and sometimes people don't get as far as this little garden. It's a gem, and it's this sundial garden, and it's towards the back of Threave, overlooking the rolling hills of Dumfries and Galloway. Mention the word hydrangea and most people think of mophead and lacecap varieties, but this is a paniculata type, and it's called Hydrangea paniculata Brussels lace. It grows to about 1.8 metres high and 1.5 metres wide, and the flowers are creamy white, spotted pink. This is probably one of the most popular plants in UK garden centres, and it's Pyrus forest flame, and it was a chance seedling found in a nursery in Berkshire. In early spring it has drooping racemes of white flowers, and these are followed by this sort of stunning red new growth, and the red new growth eventually matures to yellow, lime green, and then a nice deep green, the same as the rest of the mature plant. Although classed as a hardy garden fuchsia, it still prefers a little bit of protection from cold winter winds, and this is Fuchsia genii, with lime yellow leaves and contrasting red flowers. This shrub is a member of the dogwood family, that's Cornus, but unlike most dogwoods it's not grown for the stem colour. Most dogwoods tend to be grown for red, yellow or green stem colours, which are fantastic in winter, but this one isn't. This is grown for its form, its shape, and also the lovely white creamy flowers which cascade down the branches in summer. The name Berberis conjures up a shrub with yellow or orange flowers, followed by red berries. But this one has those features, but as well as that, the foliage is stunning. The foliage is purple marbled with silver and pink. Only growing to about 1.5 metres high by 1.2 metres wide, this is ideal for a small to medium-sized garden. Just remember, like all Berberis, don't plant it too close to a path. You don't want to brush against its, well, quite thorny stems. I think at this stage we need a break, so let's go for a cappuccino and a muffin in the stables coffee shop. Sit inside in so-so days, or if it's really nice, sit outside in the courtyard. And once you've finished your coffee and muffin, you can wander around the corner to this little secluded garden with a slate fountain. With bright yellow foliage and thorny stems, this is a member of the edible raspberry family. This is Rubus golden veil. This tree is surprisingly hardy considering its parents are from Mexico. This is Rubinia pseudoacacia frisia, and its ultimate height is about 9 metres, so it's only suitable for larger gardens. You have to plant it in full sun to keep the gorgeous yellow foliage looking at its best. Magnolias flower from early spring, quite often in bare branches, so they're quite stunning to look at, and most of the flowers tend to be upright. This is quite a different variety. This is Magnolia sinensis from China, and these flowers are pendant, pointing down the waist, so you have to stand under it and look up. And as you're standing under it, you can take in the perfumes from the lemon-scented flowers. Although looking like a giant rhubarb, it's not related to the rhubarb family. The rhubarb family is Rheum, but this is a Gunnera manicata, and the leaves can be up to 1.8 metres across, and the plant can grow to a height of well over 2 metres. So if you're caught in a downpour in Scotland, this is a great place to be. You can shelter under it until the rain passes. The walled garden at Threave is a fruit and vegetable garden. Towards the back of the garden though, we have a greenhouse, a frost-free greenhouse. So in this greenhouse, of course, we've got what we call houseplants, and some quite unusual ones. The first one isn't terribly uncommon, but I thought the colour was stunning, and it's one of the indoor pelargoniums. The next houseplant I hadn't really seen before. It's a type of begonia, Begonia foliosa miniata, and it grows to about 60 centimetres high with small, rich, glossy green leaves and pendant flowers in either red or pink. The next couple of pictures show two gazanias in different colours. Whilst gazanias are normally treated as annuals, you can, if you want, keep them in a frost-free greenhouse over the winter and plant them out next year. At Threave you'll find a nice selection of conifers, from dwarf ones in the rockery garden to very, very tall ones in the conifer section. And this is probably one of my favourites. This is one of the Japanese cedars, Cryptomeria second sugi, with stunning creamy yellow new pendant growth emerging from the tree. So there we have it. We're almost at the end of our tour around Threave, but we have to look at Threave House. This was built in 1871 for the Gordon family in the Scottish baronial style, and it was gifted to the trust in 1948, but one of the members of the Gordon family lived in it until 1955. In 1960 it became the Trust School of Heritage Gardening, and it's down to the students to plan to maintain the quite diverse garden areas within the estate. Before I go, I have to mention that Threave has an outstanding selection of daffodils. It has over 200 different varieties and species of daffodils flowering in spring. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this visit to Threave Gardens, Castle Douglas, Dumfries and Galloway, Scotland. I hope you have enjoyed it and you'll join me again sometime soon for my next Doug the Gardener's video. So take care, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.